Brooks locks in, still running through this one. The 16-year-old, Lucky Madonna, taking the #1 position on the Challenger Series ranks.
The journey for qualification continues as the WSL Challenger Series hits Sydney's Northern Beaches, the second stop of the 2024 season. The iconic North Narrabeen returns to the spotlight. Grinding left-handers and rippable alley rights provide the perfect canvas for surfing's future stars.
Wow, that was squared up.
And hangs on for the finish. Competitors converge with a singular ambition to inch closer to the coveted championship tour.
This is what you've trained for. These are the situations that you think of when you go to sleep at night.
Come on! You had to be on your game or you were done in 30 minutes.
For these hopeful surfers, the pursuit continues here at the GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy. Good morning once again from Sydney's Northern Beaches here at North Narrabeen for the GWM Sydney Surf Pro presented by Bonsoy. The quarterfinals are set and we have a potential finals day on our hands as we see our competitors picking up their jersey, getting eyes on the lineup and thinking about chasing down a semi-final spot. Nadia Aristabe, well, she'll be in that first heat against the Tahitian Vahine Fierro, and it should be a fantastic clash to kick off the quarterfinals. Ronnie Blakey here on set with Felicity Parmentier and Richie Lovett. How good was yesterday afternoon? Our legends getting out there, celebrating many of the greats from the Northern Beaches.
Oh, yesterday afternoon was beautiful. The sun finally showed its face too. There was some golden light. I just can't get that picture of Tommy Carroll pulling into that big cavern out of my brain. I mean, that was spectacular. It was so good.
He might still be out there just mashed into the sandbar somewhere, Rich.
Yeah, he might just be, and I think there's going to be some sore body parts today. Those guys were getting absolutely hammered, but yeah, no, it was a great display after a big day of competition, and we've set up the quarterfinals really nicely.
Yeah, let's see what's coming our way today on a potential finals day, Laura.
Yes, guys, I was pulling seaweed out of my nose last night, but potential finals day, how good. Down here with Sally Fitz. You're in quarterfinal number 3 up against Bella Kenworthy. Talk us through what you're seeing right now.
Surf report, Rich, I'm in the ponchos. Ponchos are working well. We've had like a front come through already. Still a little bit of south wind, but it's got a touch of west, so it's sort of like keeping the faces hopefully a little bit clean, but we're ready for anything. And yeah, after yesterday, you just kind of trying to transition that energy in today and start afresh. So I'm pumped, got ponchos on and I'm ready.
Let's go.
Thank you, Laura. And thanks for hosting us so beautifully this week. Good to see Laura out there amongst our legends yesterday. But Sally Fitzgibbons, man, I like her chances on a tricky-looking finals day. Bit of swell, bit of energy. She's been charging and is the most winning surfer left in this draw. Most winning surfer on the Challenger Series. As we have a look at the Bailey Ladders bracket here, quarterfinal number 1 shaping up to be a beauty.
Yeah, quarterfinal number 1. 2 women, 2 goofy footers actually. I mean, the whole first bracket of those quarters is actually all goofies, which means we're going to have a goof in the final, which is pretty exciting. But I mean, that the last 2 quarters with Sally and Isabella, we could, if they potentially advance through, it could be a rematch in the semi of the final last year.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah, well,
a lot of things need to happen, but
and also that number 1 position on the rankings is still kind of up for grabs at this point. But Erin Brooks on top, the way she's surfing, she'll be hard to beat. But you know, Sally semi-final up there at Snapper Rocks in a good spot at the moment. It's going to be a lot of fun watching this event play out.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We've got some new names and some experience in there too. Sally looked really fired up and ready to go. Probably, you know, well, obviously having more finals day experience than anyone else in the field.
Anyone else on Earth, just
anyone
about.
else on Earth, yeah. So she loves these early mornings. As you can see here, conditions not too bad. Forecast has been throwing us a couple of dummies, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been tricking us a little bit, but honestly, we're just waking up and going, okay, what's in front of us? This looks okay. Let's get some heats underway.
Yeah, and obviously the team making the call, Will Hayden-Smith and his crew, leaning into the expert knowledge of some of the locals in this area and saying, mate, there is still scoring opportunity out there and swell, and we take that any time we can get it.
Oh, one of my favourite sayings, a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush. Let's go. Why would we walk away if there is waves? It's definitely contestable. Yeah, it's dropped a little bit, but it's pretty clean right now. It's pretty glassy, so I think we just monitor that wind and, yeah, see how much we can get through and potentially a finals day.
Quarterfinal number 1 underway. And it is going to be a battle between two surfers that are just desperate to get themselves onto that championship tour for the first time. Vahine's come closer a couple of times. She'll be out there in the red from Huahine. And a beautiful part of the world, but Vahine spent a lot of her time in recent years chasing results on the Challenger Series, and she's had plenty of success in doing it. Nadia Aristabe got so close to qualifying last year. She's going to kick off the quarterfinals for us here. Nice flow that she's maintained. Got to remember too that she's performed very well up there at Snapper Rocks, so she's one of those surfers looking to really consolidate her place at the top end of the rankings here.
She's surfed so well. She impressed me so much up on the Gold Coast. Last year, obviously you mentioned it, Ron, she got so close to qualifying. It literally came down to that last event at Saquarema, and let's break down this one first. So first wave of the morning, first wave for Nadia, and gets up into the lip there, nice little carve, and she gets the finish here. So a little two-turn combo, little flare of the arms at the end there, a little bit more pizzazz. But yeah, I've been so impressed with her. I think she did so well last year. She only did 4 events last year too. She didn't do the Australian leg. So to really perform that well and lock in that many good results only in 4 events is just so impressive, because we've talked about it already. But if you don't have 2 good results at the start of the year, you've got to lock them in for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it's been a really positive start for the surfers that kicked off their campaign so well on the Gold Coast. Other than the Luana Silva, our top 3 are still in the mix here on the Women's Challenger Series rankings, and then a couple of the quarterfinalists, like Nadia, are still in the mix as well. So, you know, there's a bit of consistency in the form through this Australian leg for some competitors, and an opportunity for Nadia to, you know, break out of this quarterfinal round and really set herself up nicely with a keeper result. And she's waiting on that first score to come through. We had Vahine take one, and just a quick look, got out of there. So a throwaway for her, but you can see that wind. We'll be keeping an eye on that. It's causing a bit of texture on the face of these waves here at the moment, but it is a potential finals day here at North Narrabeen, stop 2 of the Challenger Series. And the judges having a really good think about that first ride for Nadia.
Yeah, they'll work on this score, because this will be the scale that they set for the rest of this heat, and well, pretty much for the rest of the round of the quarterfinals. So an important score to kick the day off. But promising signs though. Looks like there are some corners out there, some contestable waves, no doubt. Our surfers getting out there for a free surf. And quarterfinals, when you're getting ready for the quarters, it's a different feel. All of a sudden you start entertaining the thought you might just be the winner of this event.
Yeah, I think we're going to see similar sort of, you know, similar scores to what we have the last few days. It looks like it's offering the same sort of deal. You know, one big turn can still fetch you a major score. This is what I was seeing this morning when I was watching the free surf. Or you can obviously find a little corner and maybe get a couple of little waves, as we see Nadia.
5.5 on her first wave. Oh, she just gets compressed, attempting to come down off the floating re-entry there. Now, no one is really handling that section without taking some beatings as well. You know, the commitment is definitely worth applauding, but you've definitely got to take some hits as well.
I mean, yesterday, there was so much carnage going down. One of the gnarliest ones I saw, though, was Yolanda Hopkins. just absolutely, she's always someone that's going to attack a section, but it was one of the biggest sections. She went up, she cracked it, she came down on her backhand, her nose picked, so it was basically a nosedive. This thing just absolutely engulfed her. But she also packed a big tube yesterday. One on that nugget that came through, the thing just completely opened up. She picked a beautiful line, and she was close to coming out of that thing too. So yeah, there's still going to be some meaty sections.
Well, this is one surfer that can deal with those. Vahine has shown us that even at the championship tour level, she's got an edge over some of the surfers at the elite level when it comes to thick barreling waves. We've seen her take up opportunities as a wild card over in Tahiti and surf her way to the semi-finals with their impressive barrel riding displays. And she'll be representing France at the Olympics, and she'll be so strong, you know that. She's a real threat for a medal.
Real big threat for a medal. I was going to say, this is nothing for her. Vahine so comfortable out here. You know, it's a gnarly little end section, breaking hard on that sandbar, but, you know, compared to Chiopul, it is kind of nothing. it's a little mellow, mild beach break.
Her Challenger Series rankings, you know, speak to her talent and also the consistency in her performance. She's, the last couple of years, she's finished 10th on the rankings, 9th in 2021. Has cracked a final. That was in Bolito last year. But, you know, she wants that win. She wants to get herself right up to the top end to crack that top 5 and potentially make the jump onto the championship tour. She loves competing here in Australia, though. Got fond memories from competing on these shores. Won a World Junior title on the South Coast back in 2017.
Yeah, as a competitor, you get the feeling she's still developing. She's still gaining that experience, getting comfortable with the jersey on, understanding the heat situation and how to play it out. It's not just put it on, paddle out and see what happens. There's a definite formula to it, a plan. It takes a while.
Yeah, it's, you know, like journeywoman campaigner at the moment, though. And it gets to a point when you've got Groms coming on the scene like Erin Brooks, obviously a phenomenal talent, but even just competitively so sharp. You know, it probably starts to weigh pretty heavy on you. You know, I've been knocking on the door. It's time to break through for a result. Today's a big opportunity for the 24-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that because, and even you look at it's just so funny because everyone's journey is so different. Sometimes you get these kids that come up through the ranks that, you know, tainted to be the next world champ. People are talking about them, they're a prodigy child. And then all of a sudden the wheels fall off when they get to compete. And you know, there's people that come to mind when I think of that story. But then there's other people that really fulfill that. And then there's other people that take 10 years to qualify. I mean, I can think of Jacob Wilcox, Ramsey Buchheim. And I just feel like you just cannot give up. And it's a real testament to the people who really stick there for those amount of years and really get the job done, because it's not an easy task.
No, it's not. As we see Nadia go down there, and she's got the best number of the heat so far, 5.5, but Vahine hasn't really had the opportunity yet. Nadia doesn't get much of that one, and she cops a set on the head for her trouble. 21 and a half minutes to go. I guess the most difficult thing is you've got emerging, uprising talent that is, you know, obviously capturing the attention of the entire surfing world. But then you're also up against surfers that have just been bumped off the championship tour. And for Vahine, she's been, you know, trying to break into one of those few spots that get you onto the CT for a few years now. But you've got to remember what all the competitors are up against. Sally Fitzgibbons. You know, Sally's, as I mentioned earlier, one of the most winning surfers ever on the Women's Championship Tour. Macy Callahan has been to the CT. Bronte McCauley has only missed out by a spot pretty much the last couple of years. India Robinson, Isabella Nichols, Alyssa Spencer, like Nikki Van Dyke, Luana Silva, they've all been there. And even after that 5th stop on the CT, the conversation was like, who's getting back on the CT? And it was hard not to just mention all of them.
Yeah, I felt like last year we were sitting here going, oh, they'll be back on the championship tour, and we mentioned it about 15 times. And we know there's only 5 spots.
And it feels like that again this year. It really does. Obviously, Erin Brooks is really poised, and often there is someone like an Alyssa Spencer who cracks the code finally and works their way into that pack of former CT surfers. But that's really the goal, wrestling the victories away from the experienced competitors.
Yeah, Sawyer Lindblad also was another one, same situation as Alyssa. Oh my goodness, look at that trainer. But she was, in that rookie year, the same year that Alyssa qualified. Sawyer, absolutely amazing performance in Margaret River. She had to surf basically, I think it was make the semi-final or final to keep her dream alive, and she did just that. But she was on the ropes up until that event, so I'm super impressed with her to really keep that place on tour. But exactly what you were saying, Rich, it's so hard to not mention those names every time, the women that have been cut from the CT, that they're just going to requalify because they're so strong and they have so much experience behind them.
I guess the interesting and cool thing about this particular comp is, Alyssa's only done the 5 events on the CT this year, but it is a pretty young pack in this top half of the draw. One of them is going to be collecting some very key points in their quest to get onto the CT or for Alyssa get back to the CT. As we get down to that 19-minute mark, still seeing a couple of those good individual sections out there at the moment, but Nadia really the only one that's tapped into a wave that's allowed a bit of time to get up into the pocket a couple of times.
Yeah, well, the good news is we have an incoming tide, which will put a little bit more water on this bank and provide more opportunity down the line. And it might only be sort of seconds of opportunity, but it will count. I feel like there's already a bit of a theme, a story starting to form here with a couple of the ex-World Championship Tour surfers. And as we finish this event, coming out of Australia, Sally Fitzgibbons, Isabella Nichols, a few of them right up there at the top of the ratings, and they're going to hold their position, I feel like.
Yeah, I had to agree for sure. Today's just going to be pretty interesting, especially these first few heats. These first few heats obviously have got these, newer sort of surfers that haven't cracked the CT yet, but I feel like until that tide really starts to fill in, it's adding an element of uncertainty there, because it is a bit of a luck of the draw at the moment if you can find a wave with, that's open space on it. We were speaking about it at Bells, at Margaret River during the CT, but when the waves are pumping, everyone gets that opportunity. But when it's tricky and challenging, I'll get back to that. Well, when it's tricky and challenging, the field sort of levels out a bit, and maybe you can have these sort of upsets. So maybe this morning, it just seems like right now it's very tricky to find an open section. I mean, we've seen Nadia find that 5.5, but a lot of times tick down. Few opportunities have come through, but I'm thinking, maybe there could be some upsets because of this.
I have a feeling at the moment, Rich, the competitors are wave selection is obviously, they're looking for opportunity, but I think they're only looking for a brief second where they have time to get into the section, and that's it. That's all they're worried about. They're not looking for corners. A bonus is getting a wave that provides 2 turns, but I think they'll take anything that has even the slightest opportunity to get a redirection, because it's pretty much been 95% closeouts out there. Yeah,
it's really difficult this morning, and well, this is the game. This is finding those little moments. This is what this is all about. Someone has to get through this heat, and that's just the case. We've got to find a winner, and it's going to be who can figure this out. This is Vahine on the backhand this time. He'll tap off the opening section, draws down the line, and then a beautiful closeout hit. So just starting to find some rhythm at the halfway mark. A couple of lines approaching. I was going to keep going with your conversation. Those grindy heats. Isabella yesterday, she grinded it out. She got it done. Sally has a knack of getting it done. I keep mentioning those names, but with that experience, I think comes the ability to find that win.
15.5 minutes to go here. Numbers in for Vahine, 2.67. As we see Nadia now trying to add something to the 5.5. Looking back on it, it's a pretty strong opening ride. She pushes it on that final section. Lost opportunity there to bank another 5-point ride potentially.
Wow.
She'll still extend here.
I hate to say it, but I almost feel like a semi-conservative approach today might actually get you a win. You know, we normally encourage, you know, just going for it and really taking advantage, which you will need to do. As we see here, Nadia, just if she had just finished that wave, that was a score.
100%. Just a simple lip line just to really just cement that. She would have put herself so much further forward, as we see Vahine having a look.
Well, this wave looks like it might have a bit of room to move. As the 24-year-old gets up into the bowl, stylish carve to get started. Nice hit in the pocket, choosing her moves beautifully at the moment. A third turn and room for a fourth.
Wow.
And she is going to hang on for the finish. This is going to be the best wave of the heat now. Just over 14 minutes to go. And both surfers with a number on the way, but Vahine finally connects with a quality ride and really makes it count.
I feel like she did exactly what you just said, Rich. That was just a perfect example of that.
Yeah, she could definitely have surfed this wave better, but it's connecting the dots.
Yeah.
You know, it's cliche connecting the dots. She surfed well. She did get a couple of good turns, you know, right in the pocket. She's getting all the work done. But, you know, in a free surf, she would have put more into it. She would have really gone for it, but she saw there's opportunity on this wave. Not 3, but 4 turns. Nice quick snap there. You can see not overextending. Just keeping that board placement right in the pocket. Nice clean snaps.
Oh, I thought she read that wave beautifully as we see Nadia on the outside. Bigger section, little less room to move, but let's go one nice turn. 13 minutes to go here. We've got some scores on the way. Quarterfinal action unfolding. We're going to take a Bonsoy brew break. Erin Brooks is going to be out there next. Welcome back. We're taking a look at the Surfline forecast. New swell filling in this morning. Quarterfinal action unfolding, Rich, and what's coming our way for the next few days of the window.
Yeah, new swell out of the south. Still a little bit of that east mix as well through today. It backs off tomorrow. Favourable winds tomorrow, really. We're going to keep an eye on this southerly airstream that we've got in front of us right now. It is sort of chopping up the face a little bit. Tomorrow does look really, really good. So today morning, 5 to 7 foot faces. It will keep building and then again ease overnight into tomorrow. But you can see there the wind, that's the issue. Side shore up to 20 knots a little later on today. So we know that can create a bit of havoc. Excuse me, but Tuesday for me looks like the money day. Then it starts to really taper off.
Yeah, look, already this morning, it still looks a bit sideshore. It's saying offshore, but it kind of looks a little bit sideshore, maybe even starting to trend a little bit more. So that wind's already maybe kicked up a few knots, I think. So keep monitoring and let's see how we go.
Yeah, well, at the moment, though, we're enjoying quarterfinal number 1, Vahine Fierro. is starting to fight her way back against Nadia here. She actually didn't get the best number of the heat. She had a 5, but they still obviously are loving the bigger turns on the bigger sections. That's been a common thread throughout the event, and it's continued here into the quarterfinals.
Yeah, well, they've made it really clear. They're not going to change their course now. Just keep going hard.
Vahina's not pulling the wool over their eyes, is she, with that? Honestly, it's so clear, isn't it? Big turns on big sections. I mean, even that one turn, this must have happened during the break. Here we go. So little 2-turn combo, Nadia backing up her 5.5 straight up into the lip there of that first turn. I feel like most of these points are probably going to come for that first turn. This second turn was just such an ugly section. She did really well to navigate that. That was just ugly. That wave gave me the ick.
The competitors, though, they've been fighting for every point they can get, knowing that it might be the difference in staying in the draw or not. And Nadia, she gets well rewarded for that one. A 6 for her. So the requirement now for Vahine is a 6.5. I thought Vahine's wave might have just gone a little higher just based on the cleanliness of her surfing and the flow that she maintained through her left. 5 seemed, I don't know, just a little cruel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Nadia's 5.5, definitely had a bit more energy in at the wave and allowed her on her final section to kind of, tweak it. But for me, it was sort of a bit more tappy, her hit on the final section. Either way, Vahine would need a score now because Nadia, she's fought well to get herself this lead. 3.5 for that one. Oh, we're actually still waiting on a number to drop, I believe.
Vahine got that little 2-turn combination as well.
So today's schedule, women's quarterfinals, men's quarterfinals, 30-minute heats. It is a potential finals day here at North Narrabeen. Monitoring conditions constantly. And right now the surfers are starting to build on their scores, so things looking promising with the incoming tide. And we've seen it throughout the event. You might have a heat that is a little short on opportunity, a little quiet, and then you'll have 30 minutes of just non-stop action. So fingers crossed that that comes to realisation for these competitors out here on another grey Monday. The sun did pop its head out for a moment. 7.5 minutes to go. Good looking wave here. Potentially could have been into this one a little bit earlier. But Vahine's going to take it and get on the attack. Trying to hang on for a tricky finish there and can't stick it. So still going to be after a 6.5 and time getting the better of it now.
Yeah, we're counting down, just coming up to the 7-minute mark. And, Nadia, she's built well. And we talk about it all the time, building a house, building the foundation of a good score line. She's done that. A 6 and then backed it up with a 6.5, and that's building pressure. Here goes Vahine. So it comes down the line here, goes for that one big hit. And unfortunately, just could not outrun that avalanche of water behind her. The lip actually exploding on the tail of her board. And you could launch a rocket with the power of that wave. So Vahine, unfortunately, did not stand a chance.
Well, both these competitors will be chasing Olympic glory later on this year. Nadia's qualified to represent her country. She's from the Basque country, Zarauz, and she's been really impressive in her climb up the Challenger Series ranks since 2021. She finished 54th, a real positive jump to 29th, and last year finishing in 8th position. So, steadily improving, 23 years of age. And this year, I think, again, looking stronger than she did last season.
Oh, completely. And we were mentioning it before, but she only did 4 events last year, and she managed an 8th place on the Challenger Series, almost qualifying. Holy moly, how's this set coming through?
Well, there's a quality wave, but the competitors not really in position to capitalise on the first couple of sections. Vahine picks it up down the line, knowing that you can still get yourself a hefty score, even the required number to get the lead if you can stick one of those big end section hits. But that was a quality wave out wide, There's been a few of them roll in now.
Yeah, there's been 2 sets in the last 5 minutes that have peaked on that outside sandbar, and just mind surfing them here in the booth. We were kind of going, okay, that was a really good 2-turn combination wave.
For me, it almost seems like, I mean, it's easier said than done, but maybe positioning, I mean, it's hard when you're just banking your whole heat on sitting and waiting for one of those waves because you don't know when they're going to come. But we were all looking at it being like, wow, the entry point could have been a bit earlier. And where they were sort of looking at that wave, you could have almost been doing your first turn. I mean, it's ridiculous to base your whole heat off sitting out there and waiting for this, you know, perfect wave that might not come. But yeah, there was definitely a couple of opportunities there that maybe went missed.
Well, the Roxy sticker there on Vahine's board, I don't know how she's dealing with that.
Yeah,
I know that'll rattle you up.
I looked at that too and I was like, oh, that would, for me and my brain, I couldn't deal with that.
that just, it feels like drag when you look at it. And even though that part of the board is, you know, unlikely going to touch any water, it's a
psychologically.
For any surfer, that's just something that would drive you mad.
The OCD element in me would not deal with that.
No,
not at all.
Oh.
You fold your socks in your undies, Rich.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Guilty.
Oh, no.
Mr. Spiffy, that was his nickname when he was on the tour.
Stop it.
You haven't figured that out about me yet, Flick?
Look, I had some suspicions, yeah.
Yeah. Washed his hands 30 times this morning already. Here we go. 4 minutes to go. Nadia in a good position. Strong opening turn. She's been doing very well at identifying the waves that are going to offer up a bit of space for a couple of hits in this heat, trying to better a 5.5 to really pile some pressure onto Vahine here in the last 3.5 minutes. Really impressed by Nadia. She's, you know, starting to make frequent appearances in these finals, quarterfinals in particular, and managing her emotions beautifully here and sticking to a smart game plan. Yeah,
she is. And a few heats or earlier rounds ago, she actually got the board to the back of her neck. And in her post-heat interview, it looks like she's just getting some drag from that seaweed. That's one thing I was like, wow, that's a lot. I was actually going to comment on that. That seaweed has not gone overnight. It's just sort of, to me, it actually looks like there's more seaweed on that inside than what there was yesterday afternoon. We sort of saw that move into the lineup probably halfway through yesterday. Oh my goodness, look at that thing going below sea level.
Always the way when you know, you have like almost like a gutter on the inside that's got trapped energy and then a southerly flow, so bringing all the weed from the southern end of the beach, Collaroy, and just sweeping it onto the inside, and yeah, you can get stuck in that.
Oh man,
it's like quicksand.
Oh yeah, I've lost leashes to leashes to seaweed before, just completely engulfed and actually weighed down like an anchor. It can be so hectic sometimes. So that's another thing just to factor in. I mean, sometimes you'll even be surfing, and if you're surfing through a big patch of weed, your fins will just be like thunk and like grab on there, and it can actually be, it's just like you've been taken out by an invisible ninja.
Yeah, well, Chris Davidson rarely wore a leg rope when he surfed out here because he was always so fixated on alley rights, and there was a build-up of weed there on the inside occasionally that he'd just go without. Even surfed a heat as a wild card down at Bells against Kelly Slater with no leg rope.
I remember that.
And beat Kelly. So
and won.
It's amazing. Kelly would have been rattled.
Oh, he was. Yeah. A minute and a half to go. That NRMA Parks and Resorts warning has rung out to the competitors, and Vahine would really just be trying to keep her cool at the moment. Rich, what are some of the kind of things that you can tap into to keep a cool head in this situation?
I would just be saying over and over, just give me the chance and I'll do it. Give me the chance and I will convert. You know, you do this as a free surfer, you sit out there, you kind of, you know, simulate this situation where you go, okay, I got a minute and a half, I got 2 minutes on the clock, here's the wave, and you surf it. The next wave you surf to your full potential under pressure. Try and really just deal with the pressure of the situation, but also convert. It's a fine line.
In pumping conditions, on a reef break where you can rely on that wave coming, and even if you need a perfect score or a near perfect score, you can really have faith that you'll get that opportunity right now, Vahine be happy for a big slamming closeout section to rip into, because the 6.5 is very attainable.
Completely. I still feel, and I said it earlier, that, you know, these one big sections are going to be rewarded highly today. We just haven't really seen that big meaty section. Vahine had a crack, and it looks like,
no.
she's too far out.
Wow, that looked like it was trying to stand up too and back off that wall, but that's going to be the end of Vahine's run. There'll be frustration, most definitely. Early on in this heat, there was a lot of closeouts. Vahine took her chances. She was the busiest surfer in the lineup.
Stoked.
But Nadia, she found those corners. She got her multiple turns done, and she is on her way to the semi-finals and on her way up the Challenger Series rankings.
Wow, she's so stoked. I mean, we saw a few cheeky smiles just then. And I think she just knows what it means to make a semi on the women's side of the Challenger Series. I mean, we've spoken about it all week, but semi-final finishes are keepers.
That's a keeper, most definitely. But she wants more. We're going to take a quick break. Stick around, because when we return, we'll see Erin Brooks, the #1 on the Challenger Series ranks, take on Alyssa Spencer. Reflect on one of the best performances we've ever seen on the Challenger Series, maybe the best wave on the women's. The scores would suggest that a 10-point ride for Erin Brooks on her road to victory at Snapper.
Oh, just amazing stuff. Erin Brooks just in total control and really digging deep. Probably getting one of the rides of her life, actually. But she didn't just leave it to the tube ride, just showed phenomenal performance on her backhand. And really fast surfing, really critical surfing, and a deserved winner of the first event.
And then she's pitched up here to North Narrabeen, second stop on the Challenger Series, and in each of her heats has dropped an excellent wave or near excellent wave to kick off her campaign. So let's see how she gets this one going, because it's been an amazing run. You've got to actually think all the way back to Sakurema, the last event on the Challenger Series schedule last year too, where she got the victory. So she's on one.
She could potentially go 3 off the trot.
Hat trick.
Hat trick. But yeah, she's been incredible to watch down here at Narrabeen. Just the speed, you'll see it when she takes off on her first wave. She just zips along, gets going really quick. And I think that will be an advantage for her today. Just fitting these turns in. We know the waves are shutting down very quick.
Great matchup, 2 goofy footers, but you know where Erin has to kind of really step up when she's against some of the competitors is just in stature. But Alyssa Spencer and her very evenly matched, it's about the same size. The thing that they both have, which they really put over their rivals in heats, is impeccable timing and a whole lot of speed.
Completely. I feel like they both have great timing. This for me is pretty evenly matched. I feel like, but if you've just got to go off momentum and maybe just progression, and if I think back to the Gold Coast, obviously Erin, she's on a tear at the moment. But yeah, in terms of stature, in terms of timing, and obviously both goofy footers, it's going to be a really great heat to break down. And I'm just looking forward to seeing Erin and to see if she can, you know, continue this momentum. It looks like she's having another look here at this little wave.
Yeah, Alyssa's, look at that little pit grinding across the sandbar here at Northie. But Alyssa's, you know, made a habit of surprising us, you know, against more fancied opponents. And even though Alyssa's been on the CT for the first half of the schedule, for me, just the form that Erin's in and the confidence that she's surfing with at the moment has her as the favourite in this one.
Yeah, Alyssa is methodical. The way she goes about her heats, her preparation, everything about her is all set square. You know, she does not leave a T uncrossed and an I undotted. She gets it all done, and it sort of translates into the way she surfs her heats and puts her waves together as well. You know, she wraps it up with beautiful corners and puts a nice neat bow around it, you know, and Erin's a bit more unpredictable.
Yeah.
You kind of kept guessing all the way through her rides. What's she going to do? So we see Alyssa having a quick look here.
Well, crafty competitor here. Alyssa just gets up, gets that one turn executed. I mean, not a whole lot in that, but we saw in the last heat, you know, just the getting yourself the lead with some of those more minor scores can sometimes be an advantage in just building pressure over your opponent in the dying stages of a heat. So that'll, for the moment, be an okay score for Alyssa Spencer.
Yeah, Erin's a busy surfer in the lineup too. She will scour it up and down, likes to move around, keep pressure on opponent. Quick replay here of Alyssa up into the lip. Just takes a nice clean line down, pivots off the top, and rides out into safety. So the score won't be too high, but she will have a number on the board.
Yeah, if I'm just going off that last heat that we watched with Vahine and Nadia, I feel like the judges are going to really rein it back on that. Yeah, it was one turn on a sort of bigger section, but I feel like they really are looking for really committed manoeuvres this morning on bigger sections. I mean, that's what that first heat was telling me. So, yeah, I feel like they're just going to keep a little bit on the tank for this one.
Well, that one was a 4.
Or not. Hard to get a read on it this morning.
That's a pretty big score for that move. There was no extension in it. It was basically a put there. So we'll see. We'll see what Erin serves up and where the judges go with it. Already showing that flashy spark out of the pocket. Getting up there for a second turn. Not a whole lot of face to work with, but still a combo. So it should eclipse Alyssa's wave considerably.
Well, Erin was driving through and slashing through the turn. There was force, there was acceleration through it. Like you said, Ron, Alyssa's wave was more placement. So I would think, without going too far out on a limb, that Erin's wave is going to come in a little bit higher. Beautiful slash to start off. The wave lets her down here, but she sort of milks it. But she's underway in this heat.
This has got to be a great score. That first turn was so critical. It's the best turn I've seen all morning so far. I mean, I know that the wave let her down and she couldn't really get that finish she wanted, but in my eyes, that's the best wave I've seen so far this morning.
It had flair.
Yeah, for sure.
Just the energy she brings is amazing. So much speed. But waiting for the numbers to come through here. We know that she's, you know, gotten to the top end of the scale on her opening rides through each of her rounds so far. And the 4 for Alyssa might kind of help keep this number right up there in the very good range. Watching the scores come through, though, she's definitely going to win the exchange, but it's not a massive number. A 5.33. So not a whole lot of separation there. I felt like it was going to be a couple of points better.
Yeah, I just think, I feel like the score was right for Erin's wave and perhaps a little juiced on Alyssa's, maybe just a little bit high.
I'm still getting a read on this morning. I'm trying to understand it.
Yeah, well, there's definitely been no deviation from the critical end sections. And Alyssa's wave was cupped out and she rode through it and got a pretty solid reward for it. Nadia Aristabe busting into the semi-finals here. She's down on the beach with Laura.
Yes, Nadia into the semi-finals this morning. What a way to wake up. You were just saying some of those wipeouts, just like, yeah, good morning. How was it out there?
Yeah, best way to wake up for sure. It was really hard actually. From the outside it looked way easier, but once I got out I just saw like dry clothes that I was like, where are the good ones? But I managed to go out a couple fun ones, so happy I made it.
And you know, Vahine needing a 6.5 at the end. Talk us through those moments.
I mean, when she needed a 6.5 and 7 minutes remaining, I had prior a little wave gain, and she sold me that wave, so I went, and it was like a shitty one. And then 5 minutes with priority, only needing a 6.5. Vahine is such a good surfer and a good competitor, so I knew if the wave will come, she will make it, but gladly went flat, and I made it through.
Well, you're putting together such amazing heats this year and, you know, last year as well. You know, what do you feel like has changed in your surfing or your mindset?
I don't know, more confident on myself. I feel I belong here. Before I didn't really feel that way. And also I trained a lot. I keep training, like after losing a lot of heats, like, oh, okay, let's go, keep with the hope up. And now I'm here doing semifinals, so in the second event of the year, so really happy.
Absolutely amazing. Good luck in the semi-finals. Inspiring.
Thank you, Laura. And Nadia, absolutely thrilled. As we've pointed out, you know, on the women's side, with the amount of talent, CT talent, who's been at the top end and competed there for a long time, that there is a need to get yourself into those semis to really consider it a keeper result. Nadia's done that now, backing up the quarterfinal at stop number 1. Got to 8th last year. She's really carried that form into this new season.
Oh, it's incredible to keep doing that too, and to keep backing it up, and to keep showing up every year and improving on the last. Like is this the 4th year in a row now that she's bettered? Her start right now is already better than last year, because last year she didn't come to Australia, and she's already she's already got a 5th on the Gold Coast and a minimum a 3rd here, which is a great start to the year. And I mean, she's looking great. And it was just interesting to hear her speak. You know, it looks good from the beach, and you can see these corners, but it was really tricky out there. So she did really well to pick the eyes out of it and find a little couple of corners. Yeah, I think she did well, and I'm impressed by her.
Amazing how great your positioning can be when you're looking at a lineup. You put yourself in all the right places, and then you get out there and the wave allergy kicks in, and the good waves break everywhere except where you're sitting. But she chased down the corners, and that was something Vahine kind of struggled to do in the early stages of the heat, and it kind of cost her in the end. Out there at the moment, Erin Brooks holding a very narrow lead over Alyssa Spencer. Interesting exchange, fun to talk about. The judges have loved high-impact finishes. Definitely felt like there could have been a little bit more separation between their opening rides.
Yeah, I think we all agree that there was a bigger differentiation between the two scores. You know, just the one placement turn for Alyssa versus that fast, slashing, you know, radical manoeuvre of Erin Brooks, and that's what they've sort of been paying all week.
Well, in a free surf, you're constantly chasing the corner, looking for a wave that gives you opportunity to do more turns. But in this event, it's been counter-intuitive, if you will. For the competitors, it's like chase a closeout. Go get yourself a closeout and throw yourself into a section that is threatening to rip your legs off, and you might just get yourself an excellent score.
Oh, wow.
So that's sort of where Erin's going to have to make the adjustment now. The good thing for her is she's as sure-footed as anyone in the draw. So she'll have a go at those sections as well, as we see Alyssa tapping into a nice-looking wall. But this wave doesn't give her the time to get up into it. You know, she maybe would have been better off just throwing a Hail Mary, a late Hail Mary up there and trying to stick it. She got a 4 on her first wave for, you know, a wave that was half the size, and she really just placed her board there. So a bit more desperation maybe for those individual turns could give her a real edge over Erin here.
Yeah, I think so, and it's just so tricky out there. Exactly what you said, Ron. You can look at it all day on the beach and think that you're going to sit in the right position, but right now we've clearly seen just how much these women are moving around the lineup and how hard it is to be in the spot when a good one comes. I mean, we see there's a lot of water moving. They're constantly repositioning, but I like what you said. I mean, she got a 4 before for that one turn. I mean, you may as well go and do another turn and back up that 4 because time's ticking away in this heat. And yeah, I just feel like she's just going to keep surfing because at the moment I don't know if you're really going to find those waves with multiple manoeuvres right now. They're hard to come by.
Even Vahine in that first heat pulled through the back of a lot of waves. It's almost like, doesn't matter what it looks like almost. Get yourself on top of a tricky section and ride out. You might just bank a number.
Yep.
15 minutes to go here, and Alyssa up once again. Smaller wave, needs to really rip in to make a score out of it. Quality turn there, but that's all she's going to get. 15 minutes to go. Let's get a locals insight on the conditions with Laura Eneber.
Yes, good morning, guys. The clouds have parted and the sun is shining. Potential finals day. We've just come off a low tide at 6:30, running out and 12:30 high tide. So love that for us. I think as more water fills in on this bank, it's going to make it easier for our surfers out there. You know, this swell, as we've noted, the southeast swell, south-southwest winds. We're just hoping that those winds don't kick up too much, and you know, we don't like that devil wind from the south. So all looking good right now for finals day, and hopefully the conditions hold up.
Yeah, that's got our fingers crossed for it, Laura. Thank you for the update, and numbers starting to roll through for Alyssa. 2.5 for that last wave, the small one with the nice little wrapping turn in it. Maybe the best indication of how difficult it is out there, especially on the lower tide, is the fact that Damien Hardman fell off his board yesterday for the first time in 40 years. 14 minutes to go here. And Erin just giving up that priority. It's neutral at the moment, but Alyssa's going to soon click into first priority mode, you'd think.
Yeah, well, it's got a 2 next to her name on the screen, but I think that's a typo. She has established first priority. We know that because Erin just took off on a wave. I do like how they're creeping north now.
Yeah.
We have seen those little sneaker sets that are peeking out a little bit further, but here we go, Erin on the inside.
Well, find some space down the line here. Bust the tail, can't ride out of it. Surfing hard knowing she's on a smaller ride and forcing it, but we haven't really seen Erin not take the lead and hang on to a heat from the outset so far through this contest. Right now she's going to have some work to do. 13 minutes remaining here. We're going to take a Bonsoy brew break.
One of my favourite parts of the northern beaches here in New South Wales is it's got that diversity of the landscape. You have some untouched natural beauty mixed with all the enjoyable parts of living in a city. There's amazing restaurants, great coffee culture. Every time that I'm away, I come back, something new's here. So lucky to call this place home, grow up here, and I'll keep coming back for the rest of my life.
Oh, the Waxhead loves his time here on the northern beaches, and we all do. Locals to this area. Felicity's even spent a bit of time living in the zone. dropping in on blokes up at the wedge, which I love to see. Fleet, getting a piece. Good on you.
Always a bit of argy-bargy. Watch out. Coming through.
Out there in the lineup at the moment. We're looking for a quarter-finalist to make the jump to the semis to meet Nadia Aristabe, and we've got Alyssa Spencer up at the moment, finding some room on the inside. Nice combination there. And Erin Brooks knows that it's probably going to be a score too. Bit of frustration from her, sitting on the outside. Erin hanging on to the highest number of the heat, 5.33, so doesn't need a lot to get into the lead, but that requirement is about to grow substantially.
Yeah, this was a great wave. This is more like it. This first turn, bit of a carve, but that finishing turn there, she really jammed it. You can see that she powers through this little section, but the second turn is what got me excited. This right here, she really powered through. She released the fins. That was more like it. That was at power, turning through the pocket. That was good surfing.
Again, interesting to see where they go with the number.
Yes.
Because Erin Brooks on her first wave, she got into the pocket in her first turn and placed it beautifully and had a lot of spark. Her second turn wasn't all there because the wave was tapering. But it's interesting because there wasn't a lot in Alyssa's first turn, but the second turn was great.
Yeah, the script was totally flipped there. She finished really strong and got the angles right.
Timing, again, though, for Alyssa, just... We spoke about it with both these surfers. Their timing is so on, and she actually turns in the best number of the heat, 6.17. So the requirement for Erin Brooks, a 4.85. We expected this to be a close heat, and it's extremely tight at the moment. 9 minutes to go. Oh, have a look at this one standing up deep. Erin Brooks loads up on the attack. Nice hit there. Has enough speed to find the open face again. Just a cut down to set up a third little turn. So not a completely committed finish to the ride, but a nice hit to get started, and she didn't need a whole lot to get herself the lead.
I feel that first great turn, right? But I feel like she tried to fit in 2 turns when maybe she should have just waited and just done.
Yeah, well, she actually had to bail out when she was paddling out here. Let's have a look at the replay. That's nice first turn, really critical. Drops out of the lip. A slash, cut down, and then a foam hit to finish off.
Forced to take a bit of a down-the-line approach here, but you can't discredit where she placed that move, and also had a bit of a weightless kind of fall out of the lip there.
That first turn was super impressive. I mean, for me, actually, you know what? I'm going to retract that statement. I think she did really good fitting those 2 turns in there at the end.
I know what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
With all that speed, you know, the potential for a big hit, but the wave was kind of pretty ugly down the line. It wasn't like a really clean section to truly lay into. So this is going to be close.
Yeah, it is. The first turn for me was super impressive. I mean, it was so bowly. It was so critical. I understand she had to go down the line, but here we go. This looks like a little nugget.
Feels like Narrabeen is coming on now as Alyssa finds a nice bowl, climbs up into the pocket, and really just had to almost redirect out of the section. And loading up, gets down the line, and there's a tricky sort of convergence of water there. And Alyssa, wow, that wave just looked to be so solid. It was really standing up beautifully for a big hit. But the numbers in for Erin Brooks. The judges giving her some credit for the work on that last wave. 6.57, jumps up into the lead. Alyssa needs a 5.74. We just saw her take that wave. She had the wave to do it.
Wow, that was the first time I've seen Alyssa's timing be off on this first turn. Goes up into the lip and she gets hung up there a bit. It's uncharacteristic for her. I mean, she carves through this section and then the wave gets really funky. I mean, she sticks with it. It's tapered. She's looking for this finish here and then just gets bucked right off. But, yeah, this section here, I feel like it was begging for it.
I almost feel like she went a little bit too early.
Yeah.
And there was the potential to just rip that kind of a turn, but back into the pocket. So switch that first and second turn around.
Yep.
And that wave would have been a totally different story.
both these competitors chasing their third Challenger Series victory here, potentially today. It was a win at Irisira last year for Alyssa that helped her jump onto the championship tour. Prior to that, 2022, she won in Saquarema. But she is a winner, always has been, had a number of qualifying series victories. Just has a winning nature. And even when she comes up against really, tougher opponents, she steps up. That was uncharacteristic for her not to capitalise on that last wave. And she only turned in a 4.33. I think it's the best wave that's come in this heat.
Yeah, I believe that too, and I said it, I feel like it was uncharacteristic for her to mistime that, and I think that was a perfect call, Rich, that first and second turn should have been swapped around. She could have really laid into that first section with a big carve, or even like a layback carving manoeuvre in that first section would have been beautiful, because that wave did have such a taper on it. So yeah, obviously a missed opportunity there.
Rich, I think, in a tricky lineup, missed opportunities like that can weigh heavy on competitors when you get given a dream ride and the opportunity to really drop a huge score and you fail to convert. Because all Erin's work and Alyssa's previous work has been done on less than ideal waves.
Yeah. So when given the opportunity, when you don't convert, can be a little frustrating. It can start to mess with the mind a little bit.
We'll see just how Alyssa rebounds here, because she's got a couple of challenges now, being in second priority as well.
She does. I think good news for her though. 5.74, doable in one turn, in my opinion. Big meaty section, put it all on the line, put your body on the line, and you can turn that score for sure. You just got to have, enough guts to do it, I think. So, and she's got to also sort of force, because they're sitting so close to each other right now, Erin obviously doing her job in sort of defending this position, but she's going to have to put a saleswoman hat on, Alyssa, and sort of sell Erin away, force that priority. And, 3.5 minutes, it's definitely doable.
It feels like Erin's having a frustrating heat. She's had so much momentum through the round so far. She's almost got a pained expression on her face, a frustrated expression on her face. She's going, where am I meant to be sitting? Where are the bombs? Where's the 8-point ride? Come on, give it to me.
Well, it's cool to see her sort of put her work boots on, go to work, and sort of just get the job done, because sometimes, heats aren't always going to go your way. You're not always going to get out there and take off and get 2 8-point rides. Sometimes you've really got to work for it, and sometimes these heats actually feel more rewarding when you get the win and you sort of have to be a bit more strategic. You have to fight back, because this is the first time we've seen her had to fight back.
Well, you were making the points through the earlier rounds at Snapper. It wasn't all going Erin's way. She hadn't really tapped into the form that saw her win the last event of the schedule last year until finals day. So she did do a little bit of grinding through those earlier rounds.
Here,
and she's got to do it now. Yeah,
she does, for sure. Good, and it's true. She peaked at the perfect time on finals day on the Gold Coast. But here, it's been a different story. Every heat, like you said at the beginning of this, she's taken off, had a great start. She's been in control. Those ones come really easily. But sometimes these wins, yes, it feels frustrating in the moment, but it's nice, and it just adds to the confidence bank and to the mindset to know that, hey, when these situations happen again, I've got the self-belief, and I know I can make it happen.
You never know mentally where a competitor's at when they go into a heat, because they don't give too much away. Usually if they've got niggling injuries, they like to keep those kind of quiet as well. Erin has definitely looked a little less comfortable in this quarterfinal heat as she has in some of the earlier rounds. But, masking it well at the moment, still hanging on to the lead here, holding on to priority. And look, Alyssa is doing to Erin what Erin was doing to her opponent yesterday.
Yeah, she's giving her a little taste of her own medicine, just scouring this lineup. I like this Alyssa. I actually like what I'm seeing here. A little bit of aggression, a little bit of mongrel.
Yeah, I like it
Just
too.
keeping her honest. She's making Erin guess.
Erin's up to it, though.
Yeah.
When Alyssa was in Erin's face then, Alyssa turned her back, and all of a sudden Erin moved in and sat on her. So this is fun to watch. And she didn't give up much, did she, in a post-heat interview with Laura yesterday? When talking tactics, Erin, she was still, cute as can be, and sort of brushed it off, that competitive tactical nature. But she's fierce.
100%.
And we love it.
Yeah, she's 100% fierce. You have to be hungry, to be on the CT. I feel like, there's no beating around the bush. If you're out here and you're competing, you are an absolute natural-born competitor. You want to win. You want to rip people's heads off. In these situations, you want to be sitting on them. And I love seeing this stuff because it just shows passion. It shows what it means to these women. And you can guarantee it, if the roles were reversed right now, Alyssa would be doing exactly what Erin is doing. It's just, this is what it comes down to. And they leave it in the water. The women are really great at it. The men are too. But what happens in the water stays in the water, and you just know they respect each other so much too. You'd kind of be offended if she wasn't doing it.
Well, here we go. Erin taking a wave here, giving up her priority, but it doesn't really matter. The heat has come to a close, and the current #1 on the Challenger Series rankings has done enough to get herself into the semi-finals. She's going to be hard to knock off the perch now.
Oof, isn't she ever? She just continued, and that was a real tradesman-like heat. She just had a tradeswoman heat. She had to really work for that, make it happen, and that's going to feel good. Maybe a little bit frustrating, but once you digest it, good.
Yeah, well, the only thing that can happen now for her leaving Australia is that she's sharing the #1 position on the ranks. If she was to get knocked out in the semis and Sally or Isabella were to go on and get the victory. But she is a force. She's had it go all her way through those earlier rounds. A tougher heat there, but she managed to hang on for the win. Erin Brooks is into the semi-finals. We'll take a quick break. More quarterfinal action to come with Matt Janoski, Jess Starling and Vaughn Blakey stepping in for the call. The GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy, is brought to you by GWM, official automotive partner of WSL Australia. By Bonsoy, the official milk of the World Surf League. By Oakberry, fuel yourself with the official acai of WSL Australia. And by Destination New South Wales, strategic partner of the GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy.
Welcome back. Quarterfinal, Heat 3 of the women's. This is Challenger Series Stop 2. We're here at the lovely North Narrabeen, dishing up some amazing waves. Jessie Starling in the booth, and we're introducing Vaughn Blakey back onto the broadcast. How are you this morning, Vaughn?
Fantastic. Chon Florence in the booth with me, and Jess, it's been great to commentate with you over the years. This is a thrill, man. It's such a buzz to be back at Narrabeen. Ronnie and I actually grew up here when we were just little kids. That top shot of the lagoon, we used to play in that no pants on back in the day. Oh, we were young. Yeah, wouldn't do it now. But, no, it's so good to be back at the Chang here at Narrabeen. And far out, yeah, the action. It's been challenging surf, but one thing I've really enjoyed about it, mate, is like if you're willing to sort of match that energy and really attack these sort of heavy, thick closeouts, you'll get big scores. So, you know, looking at this heat, Sally Fitzgibbons and Bella Kenworthy, two women who have really been going at those sections, and that's why they're in this quarterfinal. I think this will be a great heat, sort of a, you know, bit of a mix-up of generations here as Bella flies down the line.
Yeah, hits that one off the lip, and starting a little faster. She's already logged in. That's her 4th wave of the exchange so far, and this is Sally on her 2nd, coming around this section, and trademark-like fashion, she gets a completion into the seaweed. In different conditions this morning, Jessie, a little more challenging, but lots of opportunity.
Yeah, definitely different conditions to what we've seen the last few days. Swell's dropped off a little bit more, which I feel like probably making it a little bit easier to find 1 or 2 turners. I mean, we saw Erin, she identified 2 or 3 really great waves in that last heat. Here's Bella. I love this single maneuver. Gets up vertical, kicks the fins out, and kind of, you know, we never see Bella claim, but she liked the feel of that. You can tell by the jump off, and Sal gaining speed and just drives through a really nice backhand Rio there. So great 1-turners for both of these ladies. I'm excited to see if they can find a couple 2-turners out there, because like Erin and both Alyssa identified out there, there's fun little lefts today.
And that was a 4 we saw in the replay there of Bella in her 1st wave, and she's about to lock that up. So starting really early and learning from those previous heats, not to be too fussy. We saw Vahine being a little selective with her waves, but it's there's waves out there, you just got to ride them, and the judges will score accordingly, Vaughn.
Yeah, I think Sally Fitz's turn was really nice, wasn't it? Just perfect timing, sort of kicks that fins out, and yeah, it's a really good matchup, this one. You know, Bella Kenworthy, you've seen her come through from a really young age, kind of a bit like Sal's trajectory. We saw her, you know, have a lot of success as a little prodigy from the South Coast. Now, of course, she's a veteran of the tour. Unfortunately, not making the cut, the mid-year cut at Margaret's, but has been in some really good form nonetheless. And she hits the Challenger Series with just full mongrel, doesn't she? She comes back and she just doesn't look phased or like, you know, it hasn't panned out how she wants. All her social media posts are about soaking it in, the gratitude, loving the life, and it just seems like she's at a point in her life where every heat is an opportunity to have fun and learn.
Yeah.
And so she's, yeah, despite the fact she was probably disappointed not to make the cut, she does seem like she's in a fantastic headspace, you know, at this point in her athletic career. So here she goes.
Under priority, she grabs the rail. This thing cupping out. You feel like she could have gone to the barrel. She goes for the float and cuts that one short, but it rides out. The tubes are out there, tricky to ride. And here goes Bella, foamy one, but she commits and rides out of this one. Oh, goes down the elevator, and she's going to push the eject button. Oh, an exciting array of waves there, Jessie.
Oh, very exciting array of waves. I mean, Sally found that 2-turner. I'm thinking maybe a little bit of seaweed might have played a bit of havoc on that second bottom turn. Potentially hitting a little bit of bump there. But Sal, she just looks so fast on that wave. This is typical Sal, though. Wants to get barreled at the start of this wave. Look how steep and hollow that thing was. Gets up there for a floater. Yeah, you can see she hits a bit of bump and navigates her way down. But that's a great wave there for Sal. And then, yeah,
could she have held the she could have got barreled there, right?
Look how deep and hollow that thing is behind her. Wow. But yeah, you can see Sal, forever the competitor, just kind of getting her heat started. And I actually really like this wave from Bella. Beautiful bottom turn. And that was a hard section to hit with all the foam. Air drops down. And like you said, has to go down the elevator. So Bella only finding 1-turners, but I'm loving her attack on those sections.
We'll wait for those scores to be locked in. Something for the judges to talk about, a turn versus a speed line. We're going to go down and catch up with Erin Brooks, who's on the glass with Laura Enever.
Yes, guys, Erin Brooks, she's a bit cold right now, so we'll make it quick. But Erin, a tough heat out there. You and Alyssa going blow for blow. You got the job done. Talk us through how tough those heats are and just how you keep a positive mindset.
Yeah, that heat was super tough. The waves weren't too great, and we were kind of going back and forth. Each one of us would get a score, and then the next one just right behind. But I'm glad that it went my way, and thank you, Lord, that it went my way, because I was just really nervous at the end that wave was going to come, because she only needed a little score, and Alyssa's such a good surfer that she definitely could have got it.
And, you know, has it sunk in that you've just won the first event of the year and now you're in the semi-finals and you're just putting yourself up in an amazing position to make your dream come happen and qualify?
Yeah, it feels really good to back up my win with the semi-final, but I haven't really been thinking about qualifying yet because it's so far away. There's so many more contests and there's a lot of really good girls on this Challenger Series, so it's going to be hard to achieve, but hopefully it will happen.
And what do you think you're most proud of, in your surfing and competing at the moment?
I'm happy that I'm able to be more aggressive in my heats, because before I would be super passive and feel like it would be mean to kind of take away from someone or sit on him. I still don't like it, but I just have to get used to it, so probably that.
What happens in the water stays in the water. You're an absolute sweetheart. Go get warm air and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Laura. And it's difficult to see through that humble nature that she does have a killer instinct. I mean, she's so soft in her descriptions, but we know it's in there somewhere, Vaughn, and we have a look at this. And this is Bella. Oh, goes down, and that one cupped out as well. Sal got a 4.77 on that last exchange where she did the lip line float and finished in the foam in amongst the weeds. So a keeper score goes into a top 2. She's out to an early lead and a 3.5 for Bella Kenworthy out of San Clemente. The waves are looking pretty good on the screen. It is wild out there, but there's opportunity, Vaughn.
Yeah, I don't mind this wind, actually, because we have seen it's been so straight. And this wind, the stronger it gets, it's kind of keeping it clean and blowing the left open. Sally's wave probably a good example of that. Would have loved to have seen her maybe not stall too hard for that one, because it did race pretty quickly. But what about the old Simon Anderson Larry? Just a big layback. That would have been a pretty good nod, doff of the cap to the great man and the great move.
In this swell direction, as you know, Jesse, it's a low percentage play, the barrel, but if you can get in there, you're going to be rewarded because they look sketchy. A 6.33 for Bella on her re-entry was enough to put her in the lead. So Sally, the veteran, these two had a semi-final matchup last year, and Sally, she got the nod. She made the final, and it was challenging conditions, pretty similar to what we have here this morning, although another 2 foot bigger. And you were there last year, Vaughn. You would have been tuning in, Jesse, as well. You saw how gnarly it was. But I mean, here we go. Here's Sal pulling the trigger on this one. The wind blowing up the face. She's looking to drop that low of a 4.77, racing that one. It's not going to do it. But yeah, drop an anchor, pulling into the tube, a layback. We haven't seen a layback in this event yet.
Yeah, well, they're pretty rare moves to see in any event, really. They're kind of, they're real feel surfing, aren't they? And Simon Anderson is famous for sort of bringing that move to prominence here at Narrabeen. Classic, everyone knows his contribution to surfing. It's hard to believe, but that turn in particular, just custom built for this bank. The tube runs at a certain speed, and Simon being the big man, I don't think he was ever going to go to the pig dog or any of that sort of rail grabbing nonsense. He likes to keep it straight. Simon does.
I want to dive into that history shortly. Is it Bella backing up her 6.33 with another series of turns here? Californian. She's looking hungry. She wants to take out the veteran Sally.
Yeah.
But the pig dog, it was something that really came into fashion in the 80s. John Peck, Pipeline, he grabbed his rail in the 60s. The 70s, Al Chapman's one that came to mind, the early 70s. But the layback, because of the single fin, they'd come off the bottom, set their rail, and they'd want to slow down. So they face the tube, and you're right, Simon, Narrabeen.
That's it.
Who are some layback surfers that you think? I think of the Bano brothers, for one.
Yeah, I think the Bano brothers are definitely so incredible, and still to this day, I would have to say Mark Bano has one of my favourite backhands of all time. But it's really cool for me to sit here and listen to you guys talk about Simon in that way, because I kind of came into Simon's life well past that stage of his career. I worked with him more in a shaping kind of sense, but honestly, someone who does the layback barrel very well there's actually a young Grom up at Snapper. His name's Lungy, and he does it very, very well.
Forehand layback.
Yeah,
the Derek
forehand
Hind.
layback. Yeah, so it's not really seen too much in my generation at the moment, and I think it's something that is a really cool nod if you can get it right. And yeah, maybe it's time to bring it back.
Well, let's put the juju out there. Maybe Sal will do it on the next one that opens
Yeah,
up.
but we don't have a direct line to the judges, so we don't know how that'd score. Sometimes they prefer you to get deep into the tube. Occy did one in the Legends heat up there at the Gold Coast Pro.
Oh, that was sick.
You know, that's a classic for Ock. Those guys sitting. And Tommy Carroll was renowned for it as well. Here goes Sal, second place, needing a hefty 7.16. Well on her way to this one. A nice fan to spray, and does she get the completion? Yep. Right's clear of the whitewash.
Big
Sal
turn.
looking good.
Big turn. And she knows it so well. I mean, Vaughn, I'm sure you've seen the judges have been really critical about getting out in front of that foam all event. There's been so many heats where there's been a question mark left about ride-outs, and Sal getting really low at the end of this turn. This wave from the start looked so beautiful. You can see it hit that second section and just stood up, and Sal capitalising on that section. We saw Bella get a 6.33 for one big turn, so Sal doing the same, and wow, look at that. She just lays her whole body into it and gets so low, gets the ride out. I think this is going to be a good score for Sal.
Yeah, I think that's turn of the heat so far, and yeah, I think what makes it even more tricky, it's not just about how much impact and noise there is as you sort of ride out of these waves. It's like all that weed on the inside has the potential to sort of bring you undone as well. So Sal doing really well there, and it's a big score, a 7.5. Judges loving it, timing impeccable. And Sally Fitz, Ronnie did mention early this morning he likes her chances in these tricky conditions. You know, veterans are just so good at finding a way. Whether they have to rely on tactics, whether they can just use wave selection, or, you know, if the section presents itself, knowing it's time to unleash. Sal doing a bit of all three just then.
I think it's interesting too. We've seen the two high scores of this heat come through at a one turn. Bella with the 6.33, Sal with the 7.5. What's going to happen when they find a two-turn wave?
Oh,
and they do two of those
It's a great
turns?
heat, isn't it? It looks so close right now.
It's standing up to be one of the heats of the morning so far. Let's go to a Bonsoy brew break, but don't go anywhere. The veteran up against the youngster from California coming up next.
The GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy, is brought to you by Cooper's Brewery, the official beer of WSL Australia. By BioGlan, official vitamin partner of WSL Australia. By Bond University, not for profit and not to conform. Bond University exists for you. And by NRMA Parks and Resorts, the official accommodation partner of the GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy.
We are back. The rainbow is shining over South Narrabeen. We're at the other end of the beach at North Narrabeen, the famous Northie, where Sally Fitz, the veteran, is taking on the youngster from California, Bella Kenworthy, her second year in the Challenger Series, needing a 6.18 to eclipse the lead. A great heat so far. What have you made of the morning, Vaughn?
Absolutely loving it. Chon. And yeah, mate, this is just a magic stretch of beach. It's so famous, as you say, yeah, famous Northie, but Southie, don't worry about that. On its day, it can fire. And way up the other end of this beach, or down the other end, I should say, is the original home of high-performance surfing way back in the 60s. You know, Nat Young, that was the shred zone, man. Collaroy, Point, unbelievable.
Yep, Simon Anderson as well from down there, and a lot of surfers have been brought up along that beach.
That's
Aussie right,
reef.
halfway through. Aussie right, yeah. There's no reefs down there to surf. It's pretty desolate. You see car park rights there, someone pulling in. Oh, nearly coming out, the free surfer.
But yeah, mate, just before we get back into this heat, that whole reason why Aussie right became, you know, synonymous with aerial surfing was because South Narrabeen is just one giant, great big line of swell that closed out at the same time. So we only had 2 options for turns: whack the lip or go above it.
Or pull in under it. And here goes Sally up and over the section. Vert Rio there and sets it up the second turn, carrying the momentum through. She's going to look for this third little foam climb, but all the damage is done on those first 2 hits, and she's firing up with a 7.5 and a scoreline, looking to drop a 5. I feel like that's long gone, Jessie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is what I was saying before. That 7.5, that surfing was so impressive. What's going to happen when she can find herself a wall that's going to allow her to do more? She attacks this first section just like she did on that 7.5. Beautiful bowl there, straight up in the pocket. And gets up there, gets a carve back, and Sal wants the finish. So hungry till the end, taps that foam, but look at this bottom turn. That wave perfectly bowling out, and she just nails it. That is so perfectly timed. Sal definitely showing that she's surfed this wave a lot of times before, and also she wants the win over the young gun, Bella Kenworthy.
And she's riding the same board she rode at Margaret River and in Portugal, Super Tubos. She mentioned that Glen Pang holds really well in punchy beach breaks, and she's drawn a few comparisons to the heavy waves of Portugal and yesterday France as well. You see the similarities, Vaughn?
I do, yeah. Really similar surf, quite chunky, bowled out, cupped pockets. Sal's surfing fits it beautifully. The board obviously looking magic. She's just, you know, driving into some really critical sections now and turning the screw on Bella. I mean, this is going to really put a lot of pressure on Bella, but far out. She is an exciting surfer, and she's already felt, you know, a bit of love from the judges in this heat with a 6.33 for one turn, a 5.83. It's not bad scores. Just needs to get the opportunity to ramp it up and do what Sal's doing, build. And she might have an opportunity here.
This is the 17-year-old Bella Kenworthy. Oh, hammers that section. Can she ride out?
Yes.
And she does. And the one thing you got to love about Bella is when she rides out, there's no claim. She lets her surfing do the talking, and she'll let that one simmer with the judges. Needs to go excellent. Not sure if it's going to go there, but she's well on her way. And a 7.93 for Sally has put Bella in a predicament, but she's answered back nicely, Vaughn.
Yeah, I really like that turn from Bella, not letting this heat run away from her at all. It's a beautiful wave again. See a little bit of chop moving up the face from the southerly, but bashes it. And this is really nice. Cracks it off the lip. Just a full power move. And amazing watching her surfing come on, isn't it? Because as a young ladybird, she was sort of part of that whole movement of Katie and Sky Brown and all that crew who surfed in those air shows. And now really adding power to the mix as well. Great turn there.
And she got a second at the World Juniors, the ISA, in the under-16s back in 2022, and she's won the regional QS, the Ron John Roxy Pro twice. So she's got a competitive game about her. Obviously, she's in the pointy end of the competition. She got to the semis last year. She'll be looking to go one better into the final. Got her work cut out for her. 6.67 on that last wave now, needing an 8.76. So, as you said earlier, Jessie, a couple of those will see her go into the excellent range.
Yeah, she needs to find that a wave that's going to allow her to do 2 of those turns. She's, in my opinion, she's definitely still in this heat. I mean, pretty big scores for the 2 one-turners from Bella. We know that she's capable of pretty much belting the lip. So if she can find one of those waves where she can get up vertical and then find a second bowl, we haven't really seen a wave that's allowed 2 really big turns. It's kind of tapered off a little bit on those waves that Sal has found, but Sal's made such a statement of that first turn. Her scores have gone really big. So yeah, I think if Bella can find one of those steeper left-handers where she can get a first turn and get a strong finish, yeah, that 8.76 is definitely not out of question for her.
Yeah, for sure. She's riding a pretty small board shaped by Mike Walters at Channel Islands. It's a 5.5 is usually her board of choice. It's a CI Pro 2, which fits the canvas of these Narrabeen peaks really well. And most of these surfers, they don't change their boards up too much unless it's quite dramatic, like we saw in last year's finals. But making it work and pretty light, you know, she's only probably about 45, 50 kilos, and that's phenomenal when you put it in a. We'll see the men coming up next, a lot of them weighing about between 70 and 80 kilos, close to double the weight. So you put that into context, it makes it even more incredible, Ron.
Yeah, it doesn't change the fact that if you attack these waves, and match the power or even go after it a little bit harder than what's coming at you, it doesn't really matter how big you are, you can really do some damage and get some big scores. Eli Hanneman's probably the best example of that in the men's. He's just been clobbering the daylights out of end sections and these impossible sort of just heavy dumping waves.
Aaron Brooks
example. Again, yeah, a really good example. So, yeah, I think you are right. Like that weight difference, it adds another challenge to some of the lighter surfers. But at the same time, if you're hitting it perfectly, you can really, I don't know. I guess you can get the judges really interested with that explosiveness. Here's Sal.
The technique can mean more than the actual sheer weight. And here we go, Sal leaning into that turn right on cue. That Glen Pang looking spicy under her feet. And she's got that real flary tail, and she gets the creepy fingers, the strong ride out that she's feeling it. That's kind of her claim these days, Jessie.
Oh, that is it's textbook Sal. I mean, she's kind of had that ride out since I started watching surfing when I was around 10 or 11. Oh my gosh, that left reeling
It's gonna
through.
spit.
Sal copping that one straight on the head too. I really like that turn from Sal. I have a question mark whether it'll go higher than the 7.5. I think I like the 7.5 better, bigger face. But Sal, she's just ever so powerful and just graceful. Yeah, there's the ride out we were talking about. Love the turn, beautiful bottom turn, hand in the water, just textbook backhand surfing. But I do think I like the 7.5 better. I don't think it'll eclipse the 7.5, but I think Sal's going to be throwing away sixes in this heat. So, yeah, pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, Sal, she's just the classic sportswoman. We said if surfing was more of a team sport, because she relishes in the ISA events, but, if she was in a board riders club, you'd love to have her in your team. I mean, any sport, touch footy or any basketball, she's just such a competitor, and she'll be trying right at the very end. And as a personal sport, surfing, I mean, she's obviously left no stone untouched. She hasn't had that WSL Championship Tour victory, but that she wants to take that world title, and she's still going at it, Vaughn.
Yeah, and I don't think she'll ever give up, mate. This is her life. She absolutely loves it. She's fully committed. She's always on that learning program. She doesn't sort of rest on her laurels and go, I've been here, I've done the laps, that's enough, I'll just keep charging. She's keen to learn. That's always evident in just her training regimes and her commitment to all the outer water stuff that she does. The mental preparation. She's a picture of pure health. I mean, I feel like when I'm in her presence, it's like every bad choice I made with my health is just right there. So, yeah, she's just, such a great role model for all future generations. And I'm sure, anyone who gets the opportunity to surf against her now will really be grateful for that opportunity later on in their careers as well. Yeah,
she's infectious, a personality, and whatever happens in this heat, she'll go up and shake Bella's hand and say, yeah, mate, that was a great battle. And that's the sportsmanship that we've come to expect from Sally Fitzgibbons. Having a look at this one, a poke around the inside section. We still are on alley lefts, and that south swirl, predominant south swirl. There's no mixture like we've seen the last few days. It's more of a ground swirl unloading onto the shallow bank. We heard Hedgie talk yesterday about just how shallow it is in there. It's about knee-high, Jessie.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more deceiving, this wave, than probably what it looks like on screen right now. It is super powerful. It's really shallow. Even with that set rolling through before, I mean, we've seen Erin bail her board just to make sure she's getting under waves. Sal was paddling sideways because the water was sucking out so quick. She didn't want to get that wave right on the head. But just to add to what you guys were saying before, I actually think Sal is probably the female version of Nathan Hedge. I think she is the women's side of what Hoggy does for the men. He's still to this day the best tag team surfer of all time. He is so fit, so healthy, same kind of thing. I feel like as soon as I'm around Hoggy, I'm like, I better go on a run and start moving. So I think on the women's side of things, Hog obviously does that for us as well. But Sally really takes the charge for that. She just gives back so much. And yeah, I see a lot of similarities between her and Hog.
And Bella Kenworthy, the beginning of her career, this is a phenomenal effort. Still get to the quarterfinals, but she's not done. She's got priority. You can see her battling against the current. It's going from north to south. You can see the drag, those little chops. It's an awkward situation, but that's what's creating those bowly lefts. That's what's giving him that rip bowl and that extravagant section for them to tee off on, or in some cases the barrel that she had to go under earlier. So if she can get one of those, the excellent scores are out there. And you can see the swell. That's the bathymetry coming in off the bommy. There's a reef that spreads about 1 kilometre out to sea, and it's coming in straight through there, and it's breaking it up. It's creating a wall of water that goes towards car park rights and another wall that heads towards the alley. There you go. You can see the alley straight up the front, and there's a right off to the other side of the screen. And have a look at that. You had some good surfs over the years out at North, Yvonne?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I lived here for far out 10, 15, I can't even remember now, 15 years maybe. And yeah, just an amazing stretch of sand. Surfed it in all these sorts of conditions. Really perfect days at car park right. Surfed the bommy a few times. But yeah, mate, look, 11 seconds to go here. And despite the fact she's got the firepower, it's just about opportunity. And Bella's just not going to get it. The time's running out.
A great battle between these two, but Sally gets the nod again. It's the second time they've matched up. Last year's semi-finalist moving through. She'll be looking for at least a third place finish here, Sally. Bella, she'll leave Narrabeen with a 5th and head into Bolito with some momentum. A nice result, almost a keeper result for her. Don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back shortly. Yolanda Hopkins up against Isabella Nichols, last year's champion. Heat 4. Don't go anywhere.
The GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy, is brought to you by Boost Mobile, official telecommunication partner of WSL Australia. By WeatherGuard, official portable storage of WSL Australia. By Vycobi, ocean performance and lifestyle apparel company. By Bailey Ladders, official ladder partner of WSL Australia. And by Northern Beaches Council, major partner of the GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy.
Welcome back. Quarterfinal Heat 4 of the women's. Yolanda Hopkins from Portugal up against last year's champion Isabella Nichols, the Australian. In the booth, Matt Chinoski, joined by Jessie Starling and Vaughn Blakey. We've got 3 locals. We've spent a lot of time at this spot over the years, although we're here, there and everywhere. Vaughn, how have you liked the surfing this morning?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. Chon? You don't mind if I call you Chon, do you?
That's fine.
I just love that name.
It does mean something else in another language.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Tell me.
can't actually be said on air.
Well, look, no, mate, it's been a lot of fun to be back at Narrabeen. Yeah, as you know, a long-time local down here, I've always enjoyed coming back. Reminds me of, you know, some really magic times as a kid. So many things have changed, but one thing that hasn't really is this bank. It's such a famous wave, and elite level surfing just fits here so well, man. My first ever job when I was at Tracks came down to cover the Coke Classic way back in the day. And
Really?
yeah, it was the first time I saw Kelly Slater surf in real life, and it was a summer event. So you'd come down and it was always a little north wind and just beautiful offshore little runners. I was on the beach when Brad Gerlach won it, the great
Really?
wave key master.
With that,
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, he won it back in '93.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, I was just a grom. I wasn't working for Tracks in night. Actually, yes, it was. Yeah, I was here for that. Oh my goodness, I'm old. Crikey.
Okay, so a long lineage of contest surfing here,
But
and
yeah.
some phenomenal winners, and
That's it, man. And yeah, I
Great to
got
have
to
you
enjoy a lot of them. A lot of my first, you know, questions in press conferences when I was a young cadet at Tracks were to those winners. And, you know, they'd come in, they'd be #1 in the world often. I think it was the first event of the year. And they'd ask,
January.
they'd say, oh, young Vaughan from Tracks has a question. What do you want to ask Kelly Slater, mate? They'd be like, what's your favourite food?
and
Yeah.
you
'Cause,
went
you know,
on
when
to
you're a grom, you can't even think of questions to ask. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so
you went on to
awestruck.
a decorated journalism career. You've worked for
Decorated.
Waves
That's one way to put it.
magazine, Surfing World. You're the editor of Surfing World.
That's
and,
right.
We see Yolanda go down there, and we welcome her from Portugal. It's the first time I've had the pleasure of calling her heat throughout. It's just the way the draws have gone. But knowing with the early signs of her determination at this event, I was going to see her in the pointy end of the draw. We saw her poke the nose on the Gold Coast. She was sat around the rock ready for a deep tube ride, and she was just waiting for that thing, and it never quite happened, Jessie.
I actually was talking to her in her post-heat interview yesterday. She said, I've had nightmares about that wave. It's just replayed in my head over and over and over again. And yeah, going down again there, Yol, so maybe she's just, you know what? Anyone else would probably rattle, but Yol, she's probably more revved up by the fact that she fell on her first wave. So now she's probably more determined just to go out there and find a 3-turner.
Yeah.
And give us something we haven't seen.
Such a little grit merchant, hey. Like, she really goes after it. Real tenacious competitor, but has a mad crack. Like, she's got some pretty amazing runs on the board. I'm sure she beat Chris Amore a couple of years ago in the CT of Portugal, so
Yep.
she's got skills.
Steph Gilmore as well.
Yeah,
and
got a mountain to climb here, though, because the defending champ, Isabella, like, I speak about nightmares from Snapper.
Yeah.
She's probably got the biggest one. Having to cop that 10-point ride from Erin Brooks in the opening seconds of their semi-final, and really just kind of got a bit rattled. Like, her whole game plan went out the window, and I think well, put it this way, she'll never make that mistake again. A, she's too good a surfer, and B, she's too good a competitor. So she'll be coming down here with a real point to prove, and the fact she's in the quarters, yeah, she'll be very, very hungry to make up for that.
And not forgetting Margaret River, where she failed to make the cut for the second time in the championship tour. She was out there looking really good. Her and it was in that, I'll get back to who the competitor was, but they had 2 heat restarts, and she ended up with 1 wave. About 50 minutes in the
Sometimes
wave.
I feel like, you know, when there's lots of opportunity, you've just got to go to surfing, don't you? Like, if you're just getting frustrated sitting around, you're better off just catching anything. Today, kind of a bit like that. Like, you know, there's so many waves. Not all of them do open up, but, you know, we've seen one turn really come into play. Judges are not scared to throw big scores at just a fully committed power move, and so there is so many opportunities for those. It's kind of almost just a bit of a lottery if you're just sort of banking on getting a wave that's going to open up.
And it was Gabriella Bryant that Isabella was up against, and she went on to win the event at Margaret River. And here goes Yolanda, cupped out wall. She goes to the lip and rides out, throwing everything into that turn, getting low center of gravity. She's pumping down the line here. Oh, she right out of this one, condenses the whitewash and unable to hold on there, but some nice work done on the outside. Yolanda, she was off to a good start in the Gold Coast. Not as good as Isabella Nichols, but she'd be looking to claw back some confidence. She's had a little bit of a shaky event so far. She had a bit of an off heat against India Robinson yesterday, lucky to get through that one. She's working with the local boy, Maddie Granger, the coach from the Surfers Gym, Manly Surf School. He's got a lot of Northie knowledge, at one of the layback dudes himself. He loves a good old layback, Maddie Granger. And a replay of Yolanda's wave, Jessie.
Yeah, Yol, that first section, she attacks it. I'm wondering if the judges might cut the score back a little bit because she had to bounce back down off that turn. But she's just in attack mode. She's made her way all the way through the inside, and she's never not going to hit a section. That's one thing you can definitely 110% say about Yol. It could be the 6 foot, the meatiest section coming at you, and she'll definitely attack it. So that's one thing I actually really love watching about her competitive surfing, is that you know for a fact she's going to give it 110%.
And the road to the Challenger Series has been a little bit topsy-turvy for some of these surfers, but the travel, you feel like Yolanda really embraces those opportunities, you know? Like, we've got a really nice schedule set aside, and I feel like she's traveling here with a coach. She's preparing. She went on her first surf trip to Hawaii, where she actually didn't compete last year, and she stays over there with big wave surfer Corey Gray, and she said on her holiday she surfed for 7 hours a day, and she was running and exercising, and that shows the determination that she's got. And someone else who's got that same determination, and whoever gets through this heat is going to link up with Sally Fitzgibbons, who's on the glass with Laura Never.
Yes, guys, Sally looking so strong and confident out there, dodging the seaweed. You're making it look easy. Talk us through it.
Oh, it wasn't easy coming up against Bella again. That was another version of last year's semi we had, and we just had like a bit of wind. There was like dredgy ones, seaweed, a lot of elements to cope with. So, and she brought her A game. She was surfing so good. So I was just sort of, trying to keep pace with the heat and then just find that moment of impact. And you never know in the end sections. You're just going for it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and obviously no changes with boards today. You're down here bright and early. No free surf though this morning.
I was out there early. I beat you. Lozzie was still sleeping.
Still sleeping?
It was down here in the rain, and it's one of those days we have a lot of practice at this on tour where you're on, off. A lot of the locations, similar to Portugal or Europe, the beach breaks are so shifty. So I was ready. I was up at 4:30. I was watching our Aussie Irukandjis, the juniors, just stinging away over there, winning the gold, and so watching that at 4:30 and just so pumped, came down here and ready to surf my heat.
Sal, you're an absolute weapon, and yes, you get up way too early, but that's why we love you, and that's why you are an amazing athlete. Into the semi-finals. You can go home and have a nap though, because the event is officially off after this last quarterfinal of the women's. So no finals day today, but you're looking good into the semis tomorrow.
We'll just put it on ice. We'll be ready tomorrow. Let's go.
See you at 4 a.m.
And that's it. This is the final heat of the day, and we won't see any other finals. We'll come back tomorrow and reconvene. But love that. Up early, watching the Irukandjis, the juniors, Team Australia took the win, and in fantastic fashion as well. We had the winner of the under-16s taking out the women's.
Yeah, Ziggy McKenzie took out the under-16 women's. Really incredible young surfer. She actually grew up in Bali, but both parents are Australian. Her mum actually has a bit of Narrabeen in her as well. So coming back here,
And just cutting back into this heat, Yolanda Hopkins trying to pig dog through that tube. We talked about the pig dog move before, and for your backside, the Narrabeen left, it's perfect for that type of manoeuvre. With 18 minutes remaining, Yolanda a 5-5 for the wave before last, and that one not coming out, so she won't get rewarded too heavily for that. But that mongrel, you can really see a little bit of Sally in Yolanda Hopkins surfing form.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Sally has done so well to get through to finals day. It's consecutive semis at the moment for her. I mean, imagine when the crowd gets down. She's such a crowd favourite. They're going to be really loud and proud for Sal. But Yolanda, you're right. She definitely has that drive. I heard her talking in one of the WSL bio pics about, her dreams. She really puts a lot of emphasis in making sure they come true. She's a real believer. She wants to manifest where she wants to be. Where she wants to be is on the world tour surfing for world titles. And so she's going to do everything in her power to get there. This is a great start to her Challenger Series.
She manifested this. I spoke to her at the beginning of the heat. We have beginning of the event. We have a mutual friend, and she said, "Oh, you call my heat?" I said, "I'm on the different type of draw." And she was like, "Oh, well, maybe towards the finals, we'll definitely link up." And I was like, "Oh," she's like, "Yeah, I'll be there on finals day." and that was it at the beginning.
love
The
that.
mindset going into that heat, and that's an indication of who you're dealing with, Yolanda Hopkins. She's won the European Regional Tour 2 years running. She's had so many victories over there, and she's almost undefeated. Second in ISA. She's had Olympic. She came 5th in the Olympics over in Tokyo, and she's lining up for Tahiti this year too. So dual Olympian, the Portuguese surfer. She got the monkey off her back as well. She couldn't get past the 9th place finish on the Challenger Series. This is the first time into the quarterfinals, and she said yesterday she's buried that demon over in the sand dunes here at North Narrabeen, and she's washed it off and she's ready to go. But she's up against last year's champion Isabella Nichols, and who's yet to really fire any shots, Jessie.
Yeah, only a 1-point ride in her lineup right now, so Isabella kind of playing the waiting game, maybe still trying to find a little bit of rhythm out there. We're almost coming down to that halfway mark, but Isabella surfed this wave at its wild and most wooliest last year, you know, so she's no stranger to what it feels like to navigate a tricky lineup out here. I feel like today it's definitely a lot calmer than what we saw on finals day last year, but I have no doubt in my mind that she'll find herself an open wall and tag it once or twice as hard as she can. I know, like you said, she's working with Matty Granger, so I'm sure he's on the beach waving her in different directions, but I feel like at the same time, someone of Isabella's caliber, she probably doesn't need someone on the beach waving her from side to side. She's just so classy and elegant in her competitive surfing now.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you can see elements of Steph in Isabella, the way that she competes, and then probably, I would say, the determination when things don't look so pretty. Isabella actually shines. She's willing to pull out the all stops to get that win, even if it's not in that graceful sense. Like she'll do that ugly end turn, hang on the whitewash, where Steph, the perfectionist, she wants to make it look good, and she wants to go through that routine and make it precise and stylish, whether maybe the grit that Isabella possesses has got her that win last year at Narrabeen, and it's got her through some clutch performances at Margaret River as well, where she was able to regain her spot on the championship tour. And she's that bubble surfer at the moment, and it mustn't feel that good to constantly be on that bubble, and it'll be monkey off her back if she can get on the CT and get a victory and regain her spot there and stay there.
It's bad, isn't it? Like there's nothing worse than getting on tour. You feel like you're all primed, you're off season, you work hard, and then you find yourself, you know, on that cusp, all that extra stress. You don't make it. But one thing I've noticed about the Challenger Series this year is, like, the CT surfers have come back and they are properly angry. You know, like, they want to really make a statement. They don't want to be, you know, copping more poor performances and putting themselves under more pressure to try and remake it. But what they've got to come up against is this generation of kids who are just so hungry for it.
Yeah.
And really, like, this is the tour where there's nothing to lose. Like, it's all about getting somewhere. So, yeah, pretty good stuff.
Yeah, we're moving forward. This is the second tier to get on the CT. And here we have, this is Isabella looking at a first wave of substance. Gets up, look at this. Hits the lip line, rides out. Just good for the one turn so far. Carries the momentum into this foam climb. That one will feel good halfway through the heat. Matty Granger's feeling it. He's looking up going, yes. She's got it. He's got his footy, his neon footy there. And while we wait for the scores to be locked in, we're going to go to a Bonsoy brew break. But we're going to watch this replay before we head off. And she goes through the froth herself. Talk to us. Oh, Yolanda up and running. Oh, hammers that section. And that's just, she's going to regain priority, pin drop out of there. A great exchange of waves, Jess.
Great exchange. It feels like we've finally got a little bit of action, a little bit of fire happening in this heat now. Yoel's probably heard a bit of cheering on the beach and thought, oh, you want to see something, and answered back. But Bella loved that first turn, really attacks it. And like we were just talking about, she's willing to do those end turns in a not so pretty section and get the ride out. And that's exactly what she did there. So a two-turner, really beautifully identified. But yeah, that first turn, that's where all the points are coming from. I really love this wave from Bella. She's definitely waited and identified a great wave, you know, used her priority well. And then Yoel, probably hearing the cheers, like I said, rips through one turn there and, yeah, gets out of it quickly. So two pretty well surfed waves there, scores to lock in. It's starting to heat up in this heat.
Let's go to a Bonsoy brew break, but don't go anywhere. The remainder of this heat, the last heat of the day, coming back shortly.
One of my favourite parts of the northern beaches here in New South Wales is it's got that diversity of the landscape. You have some untouched natural beauty mixed with all the enjoyable parts of living in a city. There's amazing restaurants, great coffee culture. Every time that I'm away, I come back, something new's here. So lucky to call this place home, grow up here, and I'll keep coming back for the rest of my life.
21 beaches around here in northern beaches of Sydney. We're right in between Palm Beach and Manly. What's your favourite, Vaughan, and why?
Whew, gosh, that's a big call. I've lived at quite a few of these beaches too, so I'm going to upset a heap of people. Nah, look, I love them all, man. Hate to be a bit of a fence sitter with that answer, but it's one of the most magic zones in the world for waves and just beautiful headlands. So, yeah. Pump and surf all over the place.
Yolanda Hopkins loves it. This was reminding her of the beach breaks in Portugal, where she's from. And she's been having an absolute ball here the whole time, and just the absolute frother under priority. Isabella now netting a 4.33. Before the break, she locked in a 7-point ride. And she's still in second, but pouring away back, Jess.
Yeah, that was really well played by Isabella. I mean, she was sitting there for quite a while, taking a different tactic that we've seen any of the other competitors play this morning. We've seen a lot of waves turned by every single surfer. Yol, though, probably heard that 7, and she's just so aggressive. That turn was really spicy. Gets a second one in there. So I feel like Yol feeds off other people succeeding. You know, I really feel like she probably heard that 7 and just thought, right, want to see something? And just, you know, she's just got so much grit and determination to get the win. And, you know, she said she's going to be there on finals day. That's what she said to you. And
well, guess what? It's not finals day yet.
I know, so she looks hungry. So 8 minutes, 40 seconds. I really liked that first turn on that last wave, but yeah, that 7 of Bella, really well played. She played her cards right, sitting and waiting, found herself a great 2-turner, and a 7 is definitely a keeper score today.
And Vaughan, is it worth waiting for those good ones? Are they out there, or is it the right idea to get real busy?
I have no idea, mate. Like, it's so challenging out here to pick a good one. Even the biggest sets, they can look like they're going to open up and reel off, and often they just shut down. So I really don't know what the tactic is, but the good thing for Bella is that even on that wave, which was probably the biggest wave that we've seen in this heat, the class to be able to like do that turn, cut it a little short, but still have power out of it. Like, to me, that's just sort of like that little bit of extra sort of, I don't know, experience. And I guess it's just timing, because yeah, it wasn't like a full hook like we saw Sally doing, but it still had a big spray come off it, so it was a really committed move.
And look at this, Yolanda just absolutely hunting the lineup, second in priority, and head down. She's just got that chin. She's actually gets so low to her board. She has a scar in her chin from getting her head so low to the board when she's paddling.
Really?
Yeah, she's got a dent on the board. She's that determined when she paddles. Like, a lot of surfers, when they paddle for a big wave, amateur surfers, their head goes further away from the board, but hers goes down. She's hunting, and like an absolute panther, like for a prey, you know, and it's a testament to her courage and her will. So that's someone hunting you from behind.
Could you imagine the dent in Joel Parkinson's board if he had the same technique?
I'll let you go there, Vaughan. But look at this, the determination, and coming from behind. Current heat leader, I should say. That one's not going to be it. And Isabella Nichols flying off that one, gets the airdrop, and she rides out. That one definitely feels good. Gets the connection with the lip, and she feels the passion.
It's a perfect example of what we were just talking about. She's not going for the hook. She's not trying too hard. She's just backing her style and her technique to throw the spray. As long as the timing's good and she clicks it, she'll send off a big plume and get the judges interested. It felt good too. You know it did, because she let go of a bit of emotion here.
Yeah, this wave, this is a beautiful bowl, and she just gets up there and gets the clap, gets the fist pump. I feel like Maddie Granger's probably on the beach doing the same thing, but wow, yeah, beautifully timed turn there. I love that she's waiting for the exact steepest moment before that wave comes crashing down, and that's when she's attacking it, putting all her power in that pocket of the wave. 4.33. We've seen one turns go well above that this morning. So, yeah, I personally see Bella getting the score, but we'll just wait and see until it comes through. But I really liked that wave from Bella.
Keeping in mind it's a scale of the heat, a lot of people don't realise that it's not judged on the journey of the contest. It's judged on a heat-by-heat basis. So in this 30 minutes, that single turn was one of the best of the wave. Don't know where it'll go, but it's looking like pretty close to that 7 at this point. Score's locking in right now. She goes to the lead as expected. She locks in a 6.6. Yolanda now needing a near excellent 7.77, and the confidence is shining through for Isabella. Now under priority, she's loosened up a little bit, and she's doing what Yolanda was doing. There's Maddie, the coach.
Yeah.
He's feeling it.
Bella also has a really cool little posse of Groms that have been coming down here and supporting her. Every post-heat interview I've done with Bella, the Grom pack has grown and grown and grown. And yesterday there probably would have been about 10 little girls just standing there behind cheering Bella on, actually holding her hand right up until the interview started. We had to be like, okay, Groms, we might need to let go now. But yeah, she's got so much love and support down here.
Firing back to that one, Yolanda strokes in, loses her priority. She'll make her way back out. You feel like at this point, Yolanda's thinking she could break that 7.77 into 2, especially on that mid-size wave. And I think back to her first wave of substance, the 5.5. She didn't ride out of that last manoeuvre. The script could be very different.
Yeah.
Maybe she would have the 7.
Absolutely right there, man, for sure. Yeah, I think that was her best wave so far in this heat. So if she does get a good one, that 7.77, it doesn't have to be a 2-turn sort of scenario for her. She can get it done. I'm loving the attack off the bottom. Like, she's fanging off the bottom, fully flying into the lip. It's just that her wave selection at the moment, or the wave she's taking, they're just not giving her that opportunity to really do that crispy, clean power move.
Did you see that face from Isabella? Oh, all right, you go. You take that one. It was like, all right, no problems there. And look at her just frothing right now, Yolanda. Just steam coming out of her ears, just looking for that opportunity. And Isabella's quite happy to sit back and command priority right now, Jess.
Yeah, I also have to agree with Vaughan on exactly what he's just saying. I'll get back to that point in a second, though.
Oh, goes Bird on that one. Just good for the one turn. And she's in overload right now.
Her wave count could be 200 at the end of this heat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I really agree with you, Vaughan. I feel like she's just trying to turn waves and create rhythm, which is a really great tactic that we've seen so many competitors. It's been paying off for them, but I feel like if you look at the wave count difference, Yolanda's had 9 waves, Bella's had 4. I feel like Yol, maybe time to pick off some of those waves that are a bit bigger. And she doesn't have to go crazy on it. She just needs to do one of those trademark powerful backhand Rios, because we've seen turns, single maneuvers, like we saw of Sal, go into the 7s. So we could do it off the back of one single turn.
And have a look at this. She's going to make Isabella go. And that's the one Yolanda's looking for. Heat leader up and riding. No one did close out.
Gets it done, sells it.
Yeah, so 2 minutes 20. If she can get on a set, and she's straight back in, priority. Oh! Pulls into this one and unable to ride out, packs a punch, grabs the pig dog, and she gets detonated on the inside. Held priority for all of 10 seconds, and that's definitely her plan, just to stay busy, but maybe over frothing.
Far out. She's on a heater out here. Yolanda has left not one single stone unturned. If it's come near her, she's had a crack at it. Love her, gumption here. As you say, attack mode. Falls in under the lip.
Well, she's going for that excellent score in one go, and that's the way to do it. That wave didn't allow an exit, but there is barrels that are makeable today. Commendable effort, minute 30 to go, but she needs to come out, Chess.
Yeah, she definitely does need to come out. That score, it was just a 2-point ride there for Yol. So, like I was saying before, I feel like maybe Yol should take a leaf out of Sally's book. Sally doing one big tack, and it got her really high score. 2 of them actually got her really high scores. Yol could definitely flip this heat just off the back of one turn. That 777 with 1 minute to go probably can't be broken down into two anymore. So it's got to be one wave. It's got to be big. It's got to be committed. And yeah, she's definitely driven it enough to do it. So we'll see in the next minute if a little one comes through for her. But Bella, I feel like she's going to be sharking her around the lineup.
Wow, and we haven't seen a quarterfinal appearance from Yolanda yet, but really making her presence known. We talked about her. She's a dual Olympian now. She'll be competing at Tahiti, and we've seen her with some good performances as a wild card on the championship tour. But this determination is something that'll get you on the CT and keep you there, right, Vaughn?
I agree. I'm actually really excited to see her at Tahiti as well, Matt, because that technique just then, it showcased to me that she's going to have a real go at it.
20 seconds remaining. You get the feeling that Isabella's going to keep that. She felt it, just keeping the emotions down. And a nice, well-played heat there from Isabella Nichols. Just the two keeper scores, a couple of in and outs, but a 7 and a 6-6. And there's Maddie Frothin.
Yeah. The hair will start sprouting out of his back soon. He'll start howling at the moon. His nickname is the Werewolf, so I think he'll get pretty excited by this performance from Isabella. Really well put together heat. As you say, a couple in and outs, but two keepers when it mattered to take the win.
Isabella Nichols, she'll move on, the 26-year-old. We'll see her feature on finals day. This is the last heat of the day, rounding out the women's quarterfinals. Very contestable. We just had 16 waves ridden, some quality, some pretty gnarly, meaty ones as well. We're going to go to a break, but stick around for the WSL post-show coming up next.
Welcome to the WSL Post Show here at the GWM Sydney Surf Pro, presented by Bonsoy. It was a quick morning, a potential finals day, but we've called it after setting up the women's semi-finals. But those quarters, they had some exceptional battles, great matchups on paper, and they lived up to the hype. Ronnie Blakey with Jess Starling and Vaughan, you've done it again, letting us break the events back and then coming in towards the finals and, jumping in the chair. Where you been?
Do you really want to know?
Not really.
It's so good to be. But yeah, look, I'll fly. I'll get helicoptered in for the last heat of the day for sure, no problem. But it's so good to be back at Narrabeen, dog. You and I used to. We actually grew up in a house halfway down the beach.
Albert Street.
Albert Street when we were little groms, and we'd make the little witches' cauldrons of stews out of pine cones and dirt. And, now we're back up here, a few metres up the beach, dealing with the cauldron at North Narrabeen in these sort of southerly, blustery conditions. And great to see everyone just get into the magic, pulling some magic out of that cauldron.
Great to have you here.
Thanks, mate.
Interesting quarterfinal matchups. And on the top side of the draw, a lot of emerging talent stepping up and getting some important breakthrough results today.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of veteran kind of new era matchups we saw today. One that comes to mind especially was Sally Fitz and Bella Kenworthy. Sally's experience, getting her the jump on that, but a lot of rematches as well. Yolanda getting to the quarterfinals for the first time, getting knocked by our reigning champion, Isabella Nichols. So I feel like there was 4 really great matchups and 4 great heats too. Everyone fought till the very end.
Let's have a closer look at quarterfinal number 2. We love this one on paper because Erin Brooks, there's not a lot of her, but she's got impeccable timing, a whole lot of speed out the lip, much like Alyssa Spencer. And these two really went at it. Erin Brooks has been posting big numbers on each of her opening rides through the earlier rounds, but in this one, it turned into a tougher battle.
Yeah, I feel like Erin was on the back foot, and Alyssa, I mean, she's got a lot of experience now, had her first half of the year on the CT, but Erin, I know she's been down here every morning, every afternoon, putting in reps out here, and it's starting to pay off for her. She's just looking so sharp on her feet.
Had to fight for the rhythm in this battle, but again, just blew our minds. Vaughan, she's in rare form. She's chasing 3 Challenger Series event wins in a row now into the semi-finals.
That's absolutely insane, isn't it? Yeah, she has momentum, and it's looking really hard to stop at this stage. Spencer was a real danger surfer for her. I know she's just come off the CT, but far out. She's just such a live wire performer as well. I thought these lefts were really going to suit her. There was a little bit there. You could see the spark, but Erin's just in such blistering form. Couldn't get over the top of her.
Yeah, that's right. Let's have a look at the Boost Mobile heat of the day. And it was Sally Fitzgibbons up against Bella Kenworthy, and we knew Sally was going to have an edge. Her surfing is so on this year, especially this last month. It seems like she's found a new gear and laid down some great turns again.
Yeah, Sal's come off the CT looking more fired up than ever. She just takes every challenge in her stride, but Bella Kenworthy was definitely a big challenge for her this morning. She's been on fire, working with Maddie Cattle, but Sal getting big scores for surfing like this. She had a pair of 7s, and it's just typical Sally, you know. She's just so committed, but Bella put up a great fight, came back with a huge single maneuvers as well, but Sal getting the jump on her again.
Yeah, and a lot of support down here, and Sally, she absolutely just relishes the opportunity to rub shoulders with the fans, stops for every photo, every autograph. But here it is, the Bailey Ladders bracket, checking out some big semi-final clashes here. Still the all-goofy battle happening in the top half of the draw.
Yeah, Nadia was impressive this morning too. Erin, that's going to be a fantastic semi-final. The semi I can't wait to see is this all-Aussie battle in semi number 2. Sally Fitzgibbons and Isabella Nichols. I believe that's a replay, is it not, of last year's final? So far out. Both these women coming off semi-final finishes up at Snapper. It's going to be huge. And, tomorrow's looking like a really nice day weather-wise, so we'll probably see a big crowd on the beach for that one, and those women will get a lot of support.
Yeah, looking forward to watching it all play out. And there is a chance, a real chance that we could have surfers tied at the top of the Challenger Series rankings as well.
I know, it's just all getting very exciting. Obviously, this is the last stop in Australia too, so every surfer wanted to come out of Australia with a good result. And I feel like experience has kind of been playing through in these last two events with both Sal and Isabella in the semis again. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a great day. Hopefully see the men back in the water too. We still have their quarterfinals to run, but today was just, it was fun. It was exciting. And I feel like it was really electrifying too.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at some of those head-to-head matchups on the Bailey Ladders bracket, the quarterfinal set. Vaughan, what are you looking forward to here?
Oh, all of it. All of it. Ian Gavea and Miguel Pupo. Ian was such a standout. It's almost like he's found an extra gear in his surfing this year. Miguel, obviously, he's looking to get a better result than he got at Snapper. Well, he's already got that, so he'll be looking at that second heat as soon as he comes in. Leo in blistering form. Pupo is unbelievable. He is just so good this year. And then far out, yeah, I mean, the local guy, Geordie Lawler, that's going to be a standout heat. He's going to have so much support down here. Got a big one, big challenge there. Eli's probably been the standout surfer of the event for me. And then Taro and Gathia, and that'll be an exciting one as well. But so much action there, Ronnie. So many big hits coming from those surfers.
For sure. A lot of experience in that top half of the draw. CT level surfers who've had some reps at the top end. So I think you'd have to say, as a result of that, the favourite is probably in the top side of the draw. But the way Geordie and Taro have been surfing, just so unpredictable. It's going to be interesting if those two meet in the semi-finals, but they've still got quarters to win, of course. Let's have a look at the Surfline forecast. We knew today was going to be a tricky one. That wind, it did start to pick up a little earlier than anticipated.
Yeah, definitely. I was sitting there watching it earlier, and the funny thing is here at Narrabeen, you can actually watch the southerly come in. It's darker water, but we rocked up. There was still really fun left-handers on play. The wind wasn't puffing in too much, but yeah, it's just come in, filtered in a little too much, but we do have pretty favourable winds for most of Tuesday, and hopefully some good-looking faces as well. 4 to 6 foot faces tomorrow. Drops off a little bit more on Wednesday. Still looking a bit favourable Wednesday morning, but I feel like we could have a good day of action tomorrow, and hopefully this southerly wind just stays away from us. We don't want it.
Yeah, that swell kind of trending down through Wednesday and Thursday, so we'll be here nice and early tomorrow to have a look at things and potentially get that finals day running. But let's now dive into some of the highlights from today. It's the BioGlan Daily Dose, our top 3 moments in a shorter day of competition. Erin Brooks coming in at number 3 and just maintains this incredible form. So much spark on the forehand.
Live wire, and far out, you can see why she is going to be a superstar in the future. Sort of has been really done a great job of putting away the disappointment of not making the Olympics and just fired all that energy into the Challenger Series on some kind of roll. 3 events in a row. Has it ever been done? Don't think so.
It hasn't, but it could happen for sure. Isabella Nichols is looking to go back-to-back here at North Narrabeen. She comes in at number 2 today.
Yeah, Isabella, she's tapping into some local knowledge as well, working with Maddie Granger, but I mean, the surfing, it's all in her power, and she just looks so effortless today. 4 waves surfed in a 30-minute heat, capitalised on the waves that she took off on as well, and had a big task of Yolanda Hopkins, but got the job done.
Matty Cattle, he's a busy man this week, working with a lot of the competitors. Coming in at number 1 today, Sally Fitzgibbons. This backhand, we know, we've seen it claim CT events. It looks lethal out here at the moment.
Well, I heard you say this morning, Ronnie, that Sal is going to love these tricky conditions. She'll relish them, and look at this. It's all in this performance. Her surfing, her board, everything about it is like loving this lineup. I think the trickiness of it is something that she really enjoys the challenge of. Big support, as always, on the crowd. One of the all-time favourites. And that crowd's only going to grow as we head into finals day for the women's.
Yeah, Sal's found something. You know, she had a rough run through the first 4 events of the season, but kind of by stop 5 over in Margaret River, yeah, she left her runner a little late, but stop 5, she started to throw down some turns. You were like, whoa, she's really pushing, like maybe pushing harder than she ever has before. Saw it at Snapper, now seeing it on these lefts. She looks like in event-winning form.
I know she probably doesn't want to be here on the Challenger Series. I'm sure she would have loved to have made the cut, but I think it's actually a blessing in disguise for everyone else, the fact that she has come back to the Challenger Series, because for me, watching her, she sets the bar. She sets the bar for competitive edge, competitive strategy, and just rising to a challenge. I think all of the women are probably stoked that she's here, because for me, she's definitely the most informed surfer I've seen.
Yeah, definitely got her sights set on a big victory, but 4 surfers on that women's side do. So I look forward to seeing them battle it out for the victory here. That's all we got time for today, but we'll be here nice and early, making a call at 7:15 a.m. So make sure you tune in for that. Right now, though, we're going to leave you with more highlights. See you tomorrow.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.